Whoa, ding. Okay, it's Healthy Addict. Yeah, I don't much like a haircut much. And I really don't like that big microphone-y thing. Maybe she should do it sideways or something, just so it isn't this much of a blemish on her appearance. Yeah. But yeah, they're selfish. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit selfish. Anyway, so the subject is circumcision, at least in this part here. And so I'll play some of her video, and I guess I'll say some stuff, and then I'll watch some of her video and take notes on a piece of paper and respond to things in general stated. And we'll just take it from there, kind of a thing. So leave us proceed. Oh yeah, she started the video doing this, like somebody had like piano jazz of the Star Trek theme, and she was doing that for 3 minutes.
Fractal says, I find it funny what is triggering the conversation is the
loud
boy is of an age where he can remember the procedure. That's true. That's true. So here's the deal. Circumcision, in general, I tend to be very anti-circumcision. Across the board. Men, women, whole 9 yards. But especially...
Well, look, there's no point in calling what they do to women circumcision. Women don't have penises. They're two different procedures being done for different reasons. And there's, yes, it's both on genitalia, but they don't have anything to do with each other, and they have completely different traditions. I mean, one of them is some new wacky invention, and one of them is, thousands of years old, and they're just very different, so there's no point in calling what some weird people do to women circumcision, because it's not. Circumcision.
Especially men, because people... Yes, Kyle, court-ordered circumcision. Anyone else facepalm?
Yeah, so she's talking about this because there's some court battle between a husband and a wife who got divorced, and then the wife had agreed to get the kids circumcised, and then she turned around and didn't do it, and so the ex-husband is pissed off because they had agreed and she isn't doing what she agreed to do.
Yeah. They're fighting it out in court right now, and I'm curious to see where this goes, but it's one of those things to where I just don't understand, one, why on earth people are still circumcising their children.
Cancer. Still a fact. Still a fact. Venereal diseases. Still a fact. Okay? So there's 2 reasons. Free ones. Okay? Just do it for free. Just give those away for free. And it seems like any, if it's going to create any prophylactic, okay, against diseases, and it costs like 15 cents, then yeah, you take that pill. Sure.
Like, I'm assuming that it's all just tradition at this point, right? I mean,
Yeah, well, I mean, is that what you're assuming, really? So you think that, okay, an archaic feature, like an appendix or something, if you had our tonsils, right? We have these different other conditions that are just because of biology, okay? Evolution doesn't make a perfect... We have wisdom. You had teeth trouble in this video you're talking about. Lots of people have to have their wisdom teeth pulled out. You're going to call that mutilation? Because they're doing something to have to augment for nature's imperfection. And the truth is, we don't live in the bushes anymore. Our junk isn't just flapping around getting, smacked by bugs and trees and sticks and all that kind of shit. And so, yeah, it doesn't need a suit of armor anymore. Just the truth. Huh? That doesn't even occur to you that it's probably a tradition based on something called civilization, and the fact that it's more civilized not to have, you know, sweaty extra skin on your penis. Yeah, okay. Superfluous skin.
Expectation is if you have a boy baby, you're going to get him circumcised. It's just very ingrained into.
Well, that's not even true either, right? I mean, obviously the pendulum has swung the other way. So that's the truth of it. And there's lots of doctors saying it's kind of stupid that they've swung the other way for no really rational reason. It's a proven procedure. It's worked for millions, billions. Um, Come on.
U.S. culture. But it's so fucked up that at this point, you know, the parents are fighting about it. How about when the boy is old enough to legally make decisions for himself, we let him decide?
Yeah, well, again, it's just not. It's one of those decisions you don't decide later, right? Because you're not going to mess with your junk later, certainly, unless there's something wrong with it, and that would be the only reason why you would mess with it, and have to be kind of dramatically wrong with it because you know it's so much worse. And so it's like having, you know, some people actually, you know, there's a South Park episode joking about it, but you know, people actually gave their kids measles when they're kids because they're going to survive it much better as a child than as an adult. And so there's things you do when you're young because you'll survive it better. And certainly circumcision would be one of those things that you're going to survive the trauma of it a lot better when you're 10 days old than when you're 10 years old or much older. So yeah, you either make the decision early or you don't make the decision ain't going to get made. And again, if this was some other procedure that was of some benefit to your, say there was a procedure you could do on your child that caused it some trauma, but it made it 50% less likely to get breast cancer or something. You know, the truth is you'd have to do it practically. You have to make the decision. You can't, you know, there is no, you already made the decision by pretending you're not making a decision. It's a decision, and they're going to have to live with it.
We let him decide. Because, I mean, if you ask him right now, be like, hey Chase, how you doing? Question for you. How do you feel about us cutting off the tip of your penis?
So that's how you have a rational conversation or a fair conversation about this subject. You really think it's the tip of a penis. So, you know, I don't want to tell you your business as a woman, but apparently you don't have a clue, right? I don't get women. I have to tell you the truth. I don't know how the fuck they work. But obviously you don't understand how men work if you think foreskin is the tip of their penis. Yeah, I mean you've miscalculated the substance of the building. I mean, I think you think the antenna is the building or something. Yeah, you've misidentified the function, the serviceable parts and the useless parts.
I mean, that's okay, right? That's okay. I mean, it'll hurt for a little bit, but it'll get better. We promise. We promise.
Well, look, you don't have to do any of that bullshit either, right? Because none of this is happening to a kid who has to worry about having any cognitive problems with whatever the procedure is, because the kid doesn't even barely know what gravity is. So, you know, it's not going to be worried about tips of penises either. I mean, where are you going to go with this conversation? If you're going to start arguing that there's some sort of welfare interest in a 10-year-old baby in terms of its developed neural structure, well, then you're going to have to change your opinion on abortion, maybe. Because then maybe you're going to have to accept that you're torturing babies by allowing them to be aborted. I mean, where does this, you know, what, you think there's some, it actually happens as it goes through the birth canal, the kid becomes conscious all of a sudden? Come on. It's a blob of goo. Alright? I mean, even the birthing process. Why don't you outlaw natural birth? Okay, if you think it's such a trauma for a male child to have the foreskin snipped off its penis, if you think that's such a trauma, well then why don't you outlaw natural childbirth? Because I'm sure if that little snip is a trauma, the trauma it had 10 days previously where it went to being a fish, okay, and was forced to breathe air, and on top of that was had its skull crushed, actually the bones moving in its skull. Um, so why don't you make an argument that women shouldn't have natural childbirth because it's cruel to the baby? If you're going to make this argument, 10 days later, all of a sudden it's a consciousness. Come on. Ugh, pathetic.
Hey, yeah. Tensor Guy says sounds like a simple custody thing. I think it's definitely more than a custody thing. I mean, it's this kid's body.
Again, it's just like you're advocating for the poor kid to what? Again, I guess I don't know. It's a tough choice. I'm going to just concede. I would find it stressful to have to make the decision, but I wouldn't pretend there's not a real decision to be made. And it's just silly to sit there and think there's absolutely no reasons to think that this might work for him. Because there are reasons to think he might be better off circumcised than uncircumcised.
Literally this kid's body. Yeah, all the Europeans are like, nope, no circumcision in the chat.
And that means what again? I mean, look, Kinsey did all these studies, okay? There's no evidence that being uncircumcised is beneficial or superior in any way. So, again, you go back to, from my personal logical standpoint, I'm going to say, yeah, I sort of get that it's kind of nice not to have a bunch of bacteria growing on the end of my penis. That's nice, just as a bonus. And then I also am kind of glad that when I'm actually with a woman, I'm not having intercourse with my own foreskin. Yeah, that's sort of I'd say is another benefit.
Let's see. Yeah, lots of everyone that's not in the U.S. is like, nope, not circumcised. Well, yeah, a lot of it. Sci-Fi Jory says it's for religious beliefs. That's certainly there.
Yeah, whatever. It's not even. I don't think it's been relevant for decades as a religious practice. So, but whatever. I mean, certainly it wasn't. My parents weren't doing it for religious reasons.
Or especially in the Jewish tradition, particularly, and bleeds over into Christianity. Oh, DJ, are you calling me? I'm sorry. Did I get a call? I didn't hear anything.
Alright, well, whatever. I'll play some of this and then I'll get back to you. I'll be back. We're just going to do this. Who knows what kind of technical problems are coming up soon. So I'll be back. 5 minutes. Yeah, okay, I'm back. She's talking to some guy, Tensor guy, I don't know who he is, but anyway, in Venezuela or something, and he's sort of gotten things right. He's made the same point I did. The baby just came out of the vagina. It's already been traumatized. Why don't you make that against the law, having the baby in the first place? Why don't you ridicule that? I'll certainly ridicule it. Yeah, I think it's completely unnecessary harm having babies. Yeah, stop doing it. No reason to do it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The world doesn't need more humans. They just make poo. So, fuck it, we don't need it. It's not broke. The universe isn't broke without humans, if you're going to use that logic. But that's her argument, is just this idea that somehow it's not. There's no need to augment nature's perfection in its formation of the foreskin to penis. And I think, just like women make decisions all the time about, you know, electrolysis and implants and other augmentations of their physique, I am personally, and I can, like I said, I can't do it both ways, but I'm just saying I have this impression that I have benefited from my parents' judgment, that they did do the right thing. Yeah. I don't have any complaints. So, again, you shouldn't talk as if this question only has one answer. You know, that it's just so obvious. So again, she's arguing now, again, the medical thing. There's no medical reason. Well, there are medical reasons. They're statistical facts. I mean, maybe they're not dramatic, but how many does it need? How many does there need to be? And there's just even some in terms of performance issues. You know, on you know, another argument that could be made is that there's more men who have entrapped penises. You know, this foreskin gets in the way. You know, are made dysfunctional by foreskin than men who are ruined by circumcision. I mean, certainly some men are ruined by certain. You know, some people are killed by it, but likely the same thing happens with foreskin complications, where it goes all wrong, where it forces penises to go all kinds of different directions and do all kinds of weird shit. This just isn't that simple a subject, and yes, it's veiled in this religious crap, and that's unfortunate. It's too bad that, you know, it's too bad that, like, the golden rule is veiled in religion, right? Do unto others as you have others do unto you. It's just too bad we can't say that without it sounding religious, because it just sounds pretty logical. And maybe circumcision just seems like maybe it's kind of just a nice little augmentation and a little tuck. And it really isn't something that should be associated with religion, and maybe just should be associated with the fact that, yeah, we're not dogs, you know, and humans can be something. We can, you know, we shave, we can do a lot of things to change. We have our teeth straightened. Yeah, ruined my teeth, but you know. Yeah, the ironic thing, I mean, they pulled my canine teeth, right, the animal, and left my wisdom teeth. So there's sort of an irony, right? I mean, from some people's perspective, it would be. I guess from another person's perspective, you could say, ah, that explains it. It's those wisdom teeth that makes them so fucking smart.
There's a few arguments, and none of them are well supported. Like, there's one relating to HIV transmission. There's the kind of extra skin argument, which is really kind of not there either, or protection from HPV.
It is there. Okay, you can say the argument's not there, but of course it's there. We already know there's a huge association between bacteria and viruses and cancers and infections. So there's just no reason to say that it doesn't have a correlation. There's an obvious correlation. There's more biology happening on an uncircumcised penis. That's just a fact, okay? Petri dishes prove it. All right? It can't be argued. I'm not saying it's the most horrible, awful thing in the world. I'm just saying it's a fact that there's more wildlife living on a wild penis.
You know, I've heard of a lot of things like that, or like the but none of them really hold water. Like,
right. What I heard is that theoretically, again, and this is just hearsay, and I'm sure it's not supported or you know.
Well, it's not really all just hearsay. There are statistics on this shit. You know, I'm saying I don't care. To me, that's not the point. Even if the argument went the other way, even if there was evidence of the other way, I'm still saying it's still a difficult question. It's not a obvious question. There's not an obvious answer to the question. It's you're deciding for somebody else, and you're deciding the character of their sexual identity, their masculinity, their a lot of things are going to be decided by your decision. It's just not a frivolous nothing decision. It's a something decision. Ugh.
There's no real study. But theoretically, if you're circumcised, you're less sensitive. Therefore, you are more. Shit.
Oh well, that's that's a pile of crap too. Kinsey proved that one too. I mean, this is such nonsense. Your brain does not. Your brain is where your sensations happen. They don't happen on the pieces, and so your brain forms its neural attachment not based on how many nerves are on the thing you're forming the attachment to. Okay, it's just like people's senses get more exaggerated when they lose a sense. They can't hear, they see better. They can't see, they hear better. That kind of thing. Your brain is going to associate your physique to your sensuality, and it's going to do it in some proportion based on your behavior and your habits and your rituals, and that's going to decide your sensitivity.
I'm such a prude.
Yeah. Well, look, there's this issue of lasting longer, but yeah, the problem with who wants to get into all these details? But look, what happens with foreskin, especially in other mammals. Okay, it has other purposes. Okay, in some animals the purpose is it swells after sex and kind of gets the penis to stick and stay in there so that the other males can't get in because you're stuck in there. And then, but another element of this is that the foreskin actually does embed itself in the wall of the vagina, and it is a practical fact that the man is essentially having sex with his own penis, so he can last less long, not because he's more sensitive, but because the vagina is obviously tighter in when he's fucking a donut of his own foreskin. Duh.
Therefore,
Penis. That help? Did that help? No?
Yeah, well, she said she has seen many foreskins. I have seen many foreskins in my day. That's the quote from her. And I haven't, personally, to tell you the truth. I mean, maybe I just grew up in White Town or something. But I think, when I was in high school, I think there was like only one guy that, had his foreskin. Two maybe? I don't know. People used to think I wasn't circumcised just because, I did have extra skin, but it was, I was a grower, not a shower. But anyway, I mean, it was just, that's a whole different, jeez, it really is awkward.
Yeah, okay. But theoretically, if you're circumcised, you're less likely to have premature ejaculation. Let's put it that way.
Oh, if you aren't circumcised or are?
If you are, you're less likely because you're not as sensitive. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't agree with that theory. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I don't agree with that theory. Yeah, it really isn't about sensitivity. It really isn't. And I mean, this is another thing. I just don't want to get into it, but I mean, if a guy wants to do it quick, he can do it quick. I mean, and some of these performance issues have more to do with being more sensitive. It might be a lack of sensitivity that creates bad performance because they're not able to sense their own condition, so to speak. And maybe it's because they have that suit of armor around their penis, and so they don't even know what their penis is doing. I can make lots of, you can go a lot of places with theories, but I mean, they haven't really, the whole biology of exactly what causes climaxes in men is a little bit complicated because it's this combination of pressure and temperature and psychology. It's it's got to be like a perfect storm, so to speak, of a mixture. But obviously, you can be sensitive to your own state and control the aggressiveness of the process.
In general terms, it's better. It's better for her if you're circumcised.
Well, everybody.
That's what I hear, though.
Everybody has pre-ejaculatory fluid.
Yeah.
She thinks that has something to do with sex now. Everybody does? Oh, dear.
Period. But yeah, I'm a little skeptical of that one. But nonetheless.
Me too, but I heard,
I guess if you're trying to use the pull-out method, which you shouldn't be, maybe that's... Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it's just, shoot. We get into this, aren't we?
Well,
I vote no. The kid should not get circumcised because he's 4. Stop it already. It's like...
Yeah, well, the kid is too old now, so, yeah. You can't make a decision for him now. It's too late. Yeah. Too much drama. And he's already attached to it. You know, he's already grown attached to it. So it's already part of his friend's sweatshirt. Anyway, so I'll listen to some more and see if they say anything else, and then I'll be back. Alright, I think I watched about enough. I'm just saying the same thing, you know. Let the kid decide. Are you going to let the kid decide about braces, you know, other medical procedures? You know, that ain't going to work, is it? No. And it's certainly for this one, as pointed out, it's a special circumstance. And so I'll say what I said in the other video, but I'll just say it in this video because this video is on the subject. But you could imagine that there could be such a procedure for women or something where you could come up with technology where you could take care of some excessive hair growth or something when it's an infant, and it would be an almost non-event, and eliminate, you know, what would be years of electrolysis and lots of discomfort and real harm, in the sense that you'll probably do some damage to your skin when you're trying to control hair later. And so it's all benefit to do it at the right time, early. But again, it's doing it, so again, this autonomy issue just doesn't work. You can't let the kid decide. You have to man up, ball up, and make the decision. And you should base the decision on more than nature knows best. Is that all you got? Yeah, I think that's about all you have, right? You haven't given me any like rational reason why you think penises are better because they have more bacteria on them. What's the other difference? Again, foreskin isn't there for the woman's pleasure. It's not there for the man's pleasure. It's there, okay, because of a violent, harsh world humans grew up in. That's why it's there. It's not there for any fun reason. It's there for all negative reasons. Reasons not connected to our reality anymore. So, just is the truth. But anyway, you know, I was just thinking, you know, she mentioned that the Vaz Shell guy was in the comments or something, and I was just thinking porn, you know, if it's so great, if it's so wonderful, it's so great, blah blah blah, yeah, well, why aren't there more uncircumcised men in porn? If it works so good, if it's such a turn on, if it's such a no-brainer. Anyway, That's a reason either. But, it's not really an aesthetic argument. I mean, I'm not going to make an aesthetic argument, I don't think. I mean, the penis is ugly no matter what, whether they got a shirt on or not. They're a mess. So I don't know if it matters, but I just, what can I say? It's just not black and white. That's probably enough. Yeah, there's nothing else here. Let the kid decide. It's stupid. It doesn't work that way. I'm just trying to think of other things you would let a kid decide. And just, you wouldn't let a kid decide, but the kid's going to say, no, I don't want to do that. And braces is probably a good example because, every kid would say, no, I don't want braces. They hope their teeth would be okay. Right? Right. Alright, anyway. Until next time. I mean, I wouldn't have let them pull my appendix out if they let me vote. I would have said, no. It's a good day to die. Pretty much. Anyway, until next time.